So I wanted to explain how I actually worked through this picture. This is an old picture on poster board. It's a couple years old, maybe longer, but it seems like kind of random things that kind of juxtaposition and fit together, like they do in surrealism, like the free association. And that's kind of the idea behind it. So this is actually based off of the town in the north, um, or like the colder regions in Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials. And that's where the metal shop is, and um, Henrik Urbanson, I don't know, the polar bear king. He when he was looking for his armor or whatever. Never finished that series, but I love His Dark Materials. Um, this is actually supposed to represent, and by the way, there's a kennel right there. Similar to how you would hold like snow dogs in for a sled. This is the tree in the Garden of Eden. So it has a biblical reference. And there's actually if you look, it's drawn pretty well. But this is this is actually a kid flying a kite, and it is actually there's the kite, and it's actually, and if you look, there's a tail, but it's actually supposed to represent the story that they teach about Benjamin Franklin flying a kite. Oddly enough, I put a wheelchair ramp in, or a walkway. And then here, if you look in the background, there is another wheelchair ramp and a bridge. And this bridge is actually something I got out of my head just because of probably from a footbridge I crossed. That is actually a car that's based off of a Dr. Seuss drawing. Might be from The Grinch, the movie, but yeah, there's a guy who's just popped some champagne there, and he has a kite up here, but he's got a cowboy hat on actually, and so it's supposed to represent Woody Harrelson off of His Dark Materials. I must have been watching, a lot of my stuff is based off movies or famous artists from Europe or New York. I actually like Jim Carrey's work. Jim Carrey's pretty good. I think that's supposed to be like a barge or a sketch of a boat or something. These are actually power lines. And see, there's like a highway sign. That's what that is, right in front of the top of the front end of the Dr. Seuss car. I love Dr. Seuss cartoons, by the way, and they are so underpriced. But I've always wanted to own one. I was actually in a store and I didn't have enough money to buy one, but yeah, I was in Universal Pictures Studio, Orlando. It is a nice place to go. They got a good nightlife. But there's the power lines and everything. There are 3 cactuses, and then there's some tumbleweed. And there's actually my signature there, JJG, Jonathan. Then there's this guy who's on his knees, who's praying, or a woman, with like a Japanese hairstyle. But and then I think she has an apron on, but I'm not sure. But she's supposed to be mimicking the cactuses. And I usually use 3 because it's asymmetrical. And and so I was filling in a negative space as well. I think that's a yield sign there on the bridge, but then if you look, these clouds are abstractions of mist, like in I used to I have been to Tennessee before, and Tennessee is real nice. A lot of people don't get to see it, but their water is literally the best water in the world. But it's their drinking water, so don't start one of those like companies where you steal water from an area. They gotta have their own water. These are actually sand dunes, and then the mountains based off of the Great Sand Dunes National Park, in which is an inspiration for me in a lot of ways. And so that's supposed to represent the Rocky Mountains, which are in Colorado. And so yeah, there's actually a clown that I painted with balloons and like clown shoes. That's why his feet are oversized and they're floppy looking. But yeah, you can see the detail I put into the balloon. And then going back to that set, you can see the detail on the brick. And you can even look in the window, and there's like a dresser and light switches and stuff. And they have curtains and stuff. But yeah, you can see how simple it is. I even drew a banister on the door. And I actually think but this is supposed to be a river that flows under the bridge. And it flows up through. It's actually kind of intrusive how I drew it, but it goes to the sun, like the horizon. And so the sun is actually supposed to be dragged up into the firmament in the sky. A little bit of biblical stuff, but and so the birds are like tied to the sun, and they're bringing it up, similar to the idea in James and the Giant Peach, which was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid, but it was so kind of a disturbing childhood movie. It's a little weird, but I love that movie. But they're like seagulls, and they're are just gulls, and they are, I think osprey is the name, but they're lifting up the sun over the horizon was the idea. And I actually put the clown with the balloons in there because Woody Harrelson flies a balloon in his Dark Materials. It's kind of looking into someone's mind who has full-blown schizophrenia at the time of a drawing. And it's a lot of heavy detail. But this is what it looks like. I have another video where I just show it, but I thought I'd make an explanation video so that people understood. What's weird is it doesn't make sense because you have all these different types of weather and different things that are going on and different concepts from different places. I've always believed in the multiverse, so potentially, who knows, maybe this exists. But somewhere in another world. I still can't get enough of how I drew these bricks. This is a long time ago that I drew this. And I have no idea what that actually is. I don't know if that's a welding stand right there, or if it's it seems to have a cross on it that I drew. And who knows, really, it could be a hunk of raw metal, or it could be, yeah, that's what I think it was. It was based off of, I saw a YouTube video where somebody had invented like places where homeless people could like sleep and shower, or not shower, but like get clean water through like a fountain system. I know they don't use like regular fountains nowadays because of COVID, but it would be a nice solution if someone could figure out a way to make water fountains available to people in this county. I'm not an engineer, but I one of the things that'd be nice about that is a lot of people don't think about the fact that one of the number one resources that homeless people don't have access to in the U.S. is clean water. And honestly, that should be something you can just not feel ashamed about to go into any restaurant or office or building or wherever it is and just ask for clean water, let alone housing. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff they need to fix, and they're working on it. It's just that government is so slow because, things take time and they take money, and money is time. But, it just makes me sad when people don't have access to clean water. It's one of those things that I don't know if the Green Party is really adamant about it, but I used to live next to a sewage treatment plant, and I actually, as a kid, and one of the things is that nobody ever funds sewage treatment the way that they should, but that's the thing is you have to get people interested in that, and clean water is important, and there's a lot of things that people put in water like psych meds and stuff, just medicine in general, because they'll flush it, or drugs, and those are things that shouldn't be allowed to seep into the groundwater or get into people's system because it destroys the environment. And like caves, a lot of people don't realize that caves are actually a necessity. Not a necessity, but they're to the ecosystem. But I love this Dr. Seuss car, and actually think it's funny that I drew a Dr. Seuss car. I actually had to do product design for a class when I was in high school, and product design is one of those things you have to do on graph paper, and it has to be you can sketch it, and it's really, really difficult sometimes to get all the perspective in and everything and get the measurements exact. But I actually designed a shoe in that class. And the funny thing is, for like Valentine's Day, I was thinking that actually that could be a bottle of champagne for like a wedding or a celebration that Woody Harrelson's holding. Or it could be like a bottle with roses in it, or he could be doing like sleight hand or magic or something, just popping flowers out of his sleeve or something. But I don't know. Yeah, I actually I really like how the picture looks and what it represents and does. The Tree of the Garden of Eden, it's actually based off of William Blake's watercolors, and I actually like William Blake's philosophy and how it relates to Carl Jung on archetypes. So, and one of the things you'll notice is I actually draw out the proportions in the face with the clown, and I gave him like the cross sections and the measurements in the face where things are supposed to go proportionally. He's actually got like clown hair, which is funny, but yeah, and it's really I haven't done much that's in detail like this in a while.